here with famous fashion photographer Randy Brook. We know each other for a long time. Hello, Randy. How are you?
Good, Anton. Great seeing you. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. Tell us, Randy, for how many seasons or years you've been shooting runway photography?
I started as an assistant for the American Vogue photographer in New York in 1980.
1980. We shot film that time, right?
I was in diapers. That's correct.
You've been loader? You've been loader, assistant, or just assistant who shoots the second camera?
No, I was a second. I was always a shooting assistant.
Shooting assistant. Okay, great. So you went to this runway photography straight. Did you shoot something else as a photographer, or what's your story?
So the story is one of a million people that love photography, or at this point, one of a billion people that take pictures. And I had a chemistry set when I was 7 years old, and I was given a darkroom from the turn of the last century when I was 10 years old, and 24 hours later I was making my own black and white pictures.
Great. It's very interesting. So technically, like when you grew up from the film, you know how to spin the film in developer, you start feeling different about photography. So tell us, what's the evolution we get? What's camera we use right now? How do you feel about this technical stuff?
Well, evolution is, I prefer digital greatly, but in the days of film and when I was in high school, I had a couple of friends that started the New York sports newspaper. And in starting that sports newspaper, they needed a photographer. They ended up hiring me to do their photography, and I was actually on the court for a couple of the New York Knicks basketball games during their last championship season, and where I grew up in Long Island, the NBA-ABA All-Star game, because the NBA had a skew at that point where they became two leagues. They had an All-Star game in 1973, to date myself, and I was fortunate enough to cover that as well, and I still have those images.
All right, tell us, how do you see the future of fashion, specifically runway photographers? It's going to be obsolete soon, or website taking over, or blogs, or glossy magazines going to survive? What do you think about it?
That's a great and complicated question. I think that the way things have evolved, photo agencies used to be the small players within runway photography. Now they're the big players, but at the same time, they still want to use the best photographers that they can get or that they have. And runway photography used to be more specialized than it is now. Prior to the Project Runway, prior to all the mass media and the supermodels being on the runway, it was a lot more specialized. And with digital these days, you're as good as your technique, your camera, and your ability to take pictures, which can separate you from your normal bloggers and people shooting with iPhones. And nothing against that. There's a good purpose to that as well.
All right, if some talented young photographer gonna start the fashion photography, what's your advice could be for these people?
Learn your craft and learn the equipment that you like and the equipment that you want to use, and work hard at your craft to know as much about your craft as you can. And automatically it'll cause an interaction that should advance your work. Getting it out there these days is easy with a blog or whatever, but establishing yourself with print magazines is ideal. If you can't do print magazines, then really good online magazines as a start. Excuse me.
Great advice. Thank you, Randy. It was my pleasure to talking to you.
Anton, always. Thank you.